Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. I'm here to continue our series on biblical doctrine. Again, this series, guys, isn't meant to be an in-depth look at all these different biblical doctrines, but rather short, brief looks at different doctrines, things that we believe, and to help you start thinking about, okay, what is it I actually believe about the Bible and what it says in relationship to these specific topics. So today we're going to continue that series by talking about the doctrine of man, something called anthropology. Anthropology. This is the doctrine of man. Basically, this is your belief on what the Bible teaches about man. And when I say man, I don't just mean men, I mean men and women, mankind. So, the doctrine of mankind. What do I believe the Bible teaches about it? And this includes things like the origin of man, the differences between male and female, man and woman. What does the Bible teach on that? Man's relationship with God and sin, and the essential nature of man, which is a fancy way of saying, does man have a soul, a spirit? What does that look like? How does that all work? All this, guys, would be included in the doctrine of man, what you believe the Bible teaches concerning man. This is all anthropology. Now this all, guys, is important because your doctrine of man really, it affects three things in your own life. The first is your view of yourself. I can think of no doctrine, maybe short of the doctrine of salvation, which we'll talk about in a couple videos. I can think of no other doctrine that's probably closely tied to our self-view, our self-worth, if that makes sense, guys. What you believe about man is very important because I think it has the greatest impact on how you view yourself, your self-esteem, for lack of a better term. So it affects that, but it also affects your purpose in life. What you believe about man and man's general purpose will affect greatly what you believe your purpose is in your own life. And the final thing it affects is your relationship with God. How you view mankind, and therefore yourself, is going to have a big impact on how you view your relationship with God and what that dynamic looks like. So, that being said, the doctrine of man, anthropology, is a very important doctrine. So, with that being said, I have two questions to help you start thinking through, okay, what is it I believe? Then two questions of application, if you will. The first question that deals with, okay, what do I actually believe? A question to help you start thinking through what you believe. First question I think you need to answer is, where did man come from? Now, I think it's fairly obvious in the Bible, but you may not agree. So, as you start developing your doctrine of man, what you believe about man and what the Bible teaches, start with the question, where did man come from? Then the next question I think you need to answer is, what is man's purpose? Why was man created, or why does man exist? What is man's purpose? Again, this isn't limited to just men, but men and women, mankind. Answer those two questions first as you start to develop your doctrine of man. And from there, take them and begin to apply them to your own life. Two questions to help you kind of do that is, how does that view of man's purpose affect my view of myself? How does that view of man's purpose affect my view of myself? Like I said, guys, your doctrine of man, I think, is very closely tied to your own self-view, your self-esteem, your self-image. However you want to frame that, I think it's very closely tied to how you view yourself. The final question of application I had for you guys is, how does that view of man's purpose and man's origin impact my relationship with God? Guys, once you understand man's origin and his purpose, I think it very definitely shapes your relationship with God. And so once you've developed those kind of beliefs and started looking at your doctrine of man, what you believe about man according to the Bible, start asking, okay, how does this change my relationship with God? That's all I have for you guys today. I hope you're doing well. I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Take care.